Hey guys, quick video to help you guys use contrast and create your first slide for your PowerPoint. So this slide over here is the slide that I have created to show contrast, and I'm going to show you guys how to make this from scratch on Microsoft PowerPoint. So the first step is to create yourself a new slide. I'm going to do that by going into Insert, and I'm going to click New Slide. I'm going to select Title and Content in this case because I want this to be a slide that has both the title and contents. So at the top of the document over here, we're going to add a title and we're going to call this contrast. And for the text over here, you guys are going to put one of the three quotes that I've given you guys an option to choose, which are over here. So you'll pick one of these three. I'll pick, in this case, maybe this one over here to use for this new slide. So I'm going to go back over to the slide. I'm going to paste this idea into here. So you'll notice that in this slide, I don't have any bullet points. Bullet points are good to use, but this particular PowerPoint, you're not going to be likely using very many. So we're going to try and recreate this right here. So in order to do that, we are going to start by getting rid of this bullet point over here, and we are going to have to change the background color to have contrast with the font choice that we're going to choose. So we're going to go up to Design tab over here, and we're going to go to Format Backgrounds, Solid Fill, and we're going to choose, in this case, a dark blue. The reason that I'm choosing dark blue is because I'm going to turn the text white, and there's a certain chart that describes what is good contrast, like what colors look good with other colors. So if you want to keep this, you can pause this video and you can screen clip this and put this into your notes so you have this somewhere off to the side. But look for all of the categories that say good for good contrast. One of my favorites is using either the color blue as the background with yellow as the text, or blue with white as the text. I also like using red with white. Black looks pretty good with most colors except for blue. So take a look through this chart and decide which colors are best for you. You do not need to choose the same colors that I chose with white and blue because this is your slide, but I'm just showing you which colors show good contrast, which do not. So in this case, it says for blue over here, the color white uses good contrast, and the color yellow uses good contrast. Green, or at least light green, also does that. So maybe we'll do this in this example. So I'm going to go ahead and start, and I'm going to turn my title into white font. So I'm going to go over here to the fonts ribbon over here where it says font color, and I'm going to turn this white. And I'm also going to change the font size to one of my favorite fonts, which is called Rockwell. So if you go all the way down to the letter R, there's a couple of them. Rockwell extra bold I like sometimes, so I'm going to just use Rockwell in this case. And then I'm going to go up to this little bold feature to make this a little bit bigger, and I'm going to increase the size of this to maybe, let's say, 60 over here, make it a little bit bigger. So that's my title part for contrast, and now I'm going to change the font over here. Let's use, in this case, maybe yellow, because yellow looks good with all of these, and I am going to increase the size of this a little bit just so it stands out a little more. So I'm going to maybe go to size 40. Let's see if that's good. I like it. So maybe just 46, a little bit bigger, because I want to make sure everyone in the class can see this. So I'm going to change the color over here, and you might notice that using these two different colors, there's nothing currently that stands out with all of these different words. So what we're going to do is we're going to try and highlight some of these words to give it good contrast to draw your eye to those. So the word that stands out to me right here is focal points. And because every design needs that focal point, what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn this into maybe a, let's see what light green looks like. And let's bold that by clicking this button. So that doesn't really stand out too much to me. So what I'm going to do is, in order to make that have better contrast, if we take a look at the chart and look at yellow and green, if you have yellow and green, you'll notice that has poor contrast over here. So the chart's telling us right now we probably shouldn't do that because it doesn't really stand out. So what I'm going to do is, because I want to use green right now, let's get rid of this yellow. And I'm going to turn focal point, maybe keep it green, but I'm going to turn everything else what has a good contrast with green, which in this case, a good contrast with green would be perhaps blue over here. So let's try the blue. So let's go back over to the presentation, and we are going to turn this all into a blue colored font. So let's try very light blue so that it contrasts, and then let's choose our green color, a nice light green. So if we were to take a look at this slide now in full screen mode, we would see that the green pops among the blue, but the blue doesn't really pop up amongst the rest of the slide. So I'm going to turn this now white, and let's see how that looks compared to everything else. And you'll notice that's part of the reason that I originally chose a lightish whitish color was because white turns to look good with that, and then the focal point part over here pops. But I want this to stand out even more, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to change the font over to Rockwell, the same font I used for contrast over here, just so it's a little bit bigger. And I'm actually going to increase this font size just a little bit more, maybe to 60, so that we really have that word popping out, showing good contrast against everything else. So this is not to say that this is how you have to make your slide, but these are just some tips that you can use, and I'm walking you through my process of creating a slide to show contrast. This is a model over here of what the slide could look like, and I'm not going to force you guys to copy it, but I do want to show you guys and give you the creative freedom to use the idea of contrast, which is with colors and also with the size, use of different fonts, and using bold to make it larger. You could even perhaps underline something, but I just like to use one elements of contrast with every statement. I think that once you use too many things, kind of like this slide over here, it is just a lot to take in. There's just too many different colors and underlines and changes, like nothing really stands out to me, whereas if I take a look at this slide, I see the word notice, I see the word dominant, and I notice these colors over here that show me that this is an eyesore. So this is just a little bit of information on how to create a slide on contrast, and good luck.